Last year, Hurricane Maria killed nearly 3,000 Puerto Ricans. Now, for those of you who don't know, that's a death toll that exceeds Hurricane Katrina and even 9/11. Now, part of the reason why so many people died was because of Donald Trump's botched response, if you can even call it a response. But nonetheless, this is how he thinks he did with regard to Hurricane Maria.
Puerto Rico was an incredible unsung success.
3,000 people died, and he called it an incredible unsung success. I don't even know what to say about that. What a disgusting, lying piece of shit. Now, he wasn't done there. I mean, he wasn't stuttering. You heard him clearly, but he also patted himself on the back via Twitter. So on September 12th, he tweeted, "We got A+ for our recent hurricane work in Texas and Florida and did an unappreciated great job in Puerto Rico, even though an inaccessible island with very poor electricity and a totally incompetent mayor of San Juan, we are ready for the big one that is coming." So clearly he was talking about his responses to other hurricanes, but for the most part, he said that he did a great job in Puerto Rico, which is just, it's absurd. It's an affront to reality. So people responded, obviously, by saying, how in the fuck can you claim that you did a great job with a straight face when 3,000 Puerto Ricans are now dead because of your botched response? And this is his response to that. 3,000 people did not die in the 2 hurricanes that hit Puerto Rico. When I left the island after the storm had hit, they had anywhere from 6 to 18 deaths. As time went by, it did not go up by much. Then, a long time later, they started to report really large numbers, like 3,000. This was done by the Democrats in order to make me look as bad as possible when I was successfully raising billions of dollars to help rebuild Puerto Rico. If a person died for any reason, like old age, just add them onto the list. Bad politics. I love Puerto Rico. Actually, Democrats did not fabricate that number. The governor of Puerto Rico, one of your allies, is the individual that commissioned George Washington University to do the study, and they're the ones that came up with the 3,000 figure. And that's actually one of the more conservative estimates because other studies are saying that the number is actually closer to 5,000 people that died. And understand that it's particularly disgusting what he's doing here because he's misrepresenting the study because he's saying, oh, well, if old people died, they just add them to the list. But the reason why those old people, some of the old people, are counted in with that list is because they weren't just dying from old age. They were dying because they couldn't get access to healthcare or dialysis as a direct result of, say it with me, the hurricane. So I don't know how he can say that with a straight face. If he knows that they were adding old people to the numbers, then certainly he at least has a tangential understanding of the study to a degree, right? He disagrees with the methods. But those methods are important because you have to add in what happened afterwards because hurricanes don't just come and cause destruction and kill a number of people and that's that. I mean, there are resulting consequences that kind of have this ripple effect after the disaster. So of course you have to include them, but this is Donald Trump. He's willing to erase the deaths of thousands of people simply to make himself look better, to save face. It's perhaps the most disgusting lie he's told yet. I mean, he's told literally thousands of lies since he's become president, but this has to be the most egregious one. I'm honestly shocked that he is this brazenly denying reality. And I shouldn't be shocked because this is Donald Trump, but it's just when people's lives are involved, when people die, this is more dirty and disgusting than just an average lie of saying, millions of people voted illegally in the election. That's grotesque, right? That is just fundamentally untrue. But to lie about people who died, there's something especially grotesque about that. It's disgusting. Now, the thing about Donald Trump here and his response is that Congress can take action. They can take action. They could investigate his response. They can make sure that there's an investigation so that way we learn from Puerto Rico and this doesn't happen again. But they have chosen largely to give Donald Trump a pass after he did nothing to help out Puerto Ricans. And when you compare Congress's response after Katrina to the response here that Donald Trump is getting, or the lack of response, so to speak, well, Donald Trump is getting a pretty sweet deal because, as Danny Vinnick of Politico writes, after Hurricane Katrina crashed into the Gulf Coast in 2005, Congress sprang into action. 17 days after the storm made landfall, the Republican-led House created a bipartisan select committee to investigate the Bush administration's response to the storm. In the Senate, the committee with oversight over the Federal Emergency Management Agency held 22 hearings in 6 months. Within 8 months, both committees had released 500-plus page investigations into the Bush administration's handling of the crisis, with dozens of recommendations for reform. In the year since Hurricane Maria slammed into Puerto Rico, killing nearly 70% more people than Katrina, the GOP-led House has yet to create a select committee to oversee the Trump administration's recovery efforts. The Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee, which oversees FEMA, has held just 2 hearings related to the storm. Neither the House nor the Senate have issued any major reports, and none appear to be in the works. The lack of congressional oversight is especially striking since serious questions remain unanswered about a hurricane that killed an estimated 2,975 people, according to researchers at George Washington University. President Donald Trump falsely claimed last week that the death count was inflated as part of a partisan Democratic attack, but with only limited oversight from Congress, disaster experts contend it is difficult to hold officials accountable for delayed responses last year, to help FEMA learn from its mistakes, or to provide a documented accounting of what happened in order to refute claims like the one in Trump's tweet. I mean, to say that this was a botched response is a misnomer, because that would imply that there was any sort of response whatsoever. Donald Trump did nothing because he doesn't care about people in Puerto Rico, probably because he didn't realize that Puerto Ricans are American citizens. This is by far the most disgusting lie I think he's said yet.
Support this podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Humanist Report.